Hey, Liv, I'm going to fix your noise gate real quick.
Okay.
Just 1 second. Stop typing. I'll tell you when to type.
Okay.
Your typing is always getting picked up. So, yeah, your threshold's way high. Go ahead and type.
Okay.
Just type furiously. Stop. Type normal. Go ahead and talk.
Testing, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Welcome to the show.
Go ahead and type again. Who can hear her typing? Can anyone hear her typing? Test, test. Anyone hear Olivia typing? Go ahead and type, Liv.
Not anymore.
People say not anymore? Good. All right, that's noise gate, folks. It cuts off the overall sound. In fact, you won't be able to hear me on her mic either. This processor is just ridiculous. All right. I think we're ready to...
the rock and roll get started.
Yeah, rock and roll get started. Here we go, folks. We're not going to do another countdown. Let's just rock and roll. Wait. Melanie says, I hear the typing. Do it again, Liv. It's only once in a while, though. My earbuds are good, too. Like, trust me, what I've got is I can hear it. Yeah. All right, let's rock and roll. Either way, we're good. Just try to do it a little softer. You're a furious typer.
I type very fast.
Yeah. Hog Squints here. Check out our friend Matthew Spirit at his podcast at The DUM Show and his website. Yeah. Don'tUnfriendMe.com. Yeah.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, Olivia, and Mike. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on the Spreely.tv network and all major social media channels at The DUM Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.
What's going on, everybody? Listen, it's It's Friday. It's Red Friday. Welcome to Red Friday. Liv's rocking her We the People. God, you know, I'm just saying this whole thing you're going through. Can we talk about this live or no?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
So
Sorry, no. I'm not that comfortable.
It was funny. You were showing the We the People thing, and then you went like this, and I was like, oh crap, what time to go?
No,
You gotta
it
get
was
up.
all wrinkled.
No,
so
it's yeah. Don't ever worry about that ever again. First of all, whoever just donated, you're amazing. Thank you very much for doing that. I don't want to give out your full name, so I'll just say Gordon. Thank you. Appreciate it. Every bit helps. Doesn't matter. If you can do it, you can do it. If you can't, you can't. It does not matter to me. This show will always be free. But I will tell you, the level of support that we have received over the last 48 hours is incredible. The site went from like, we haven't really sold much since Jason Aldean. You know, we sell a shirt or hoodie, you know, probably $1,000 a month. And I know people are like, oh my God, $1,000 a month. Well, you know, I only get to keep like 15% of that. So that's not a lot of money. But it's good. It's good. It's great. It goes to good charities, but the charity makes more than I do. But Jason Aldean was a blessing for us. I mean, that really came at a time when we needed it, and it was great. We made a lot of money off that, and it was awesome. And it's nice to be appreciated for our shirts. Well, the latest one has been doing exceptionally well. I mean, this has only been out for a couple of hours, and already people are really taken to it. It is the Come and Take It, which is obviously the Texas canon, more of the arms. And when it came to the Don't Mess with Texas history of the Come and Take It flag and the Come and Take It mantra, I've got a flag behind me that is the Come and Take It flag. And it's doing really well. People wanted hats, and people are like, hey, make a hat. I'll buy a hat. And they buy in hats and buying shirts. But the big thing that's been just absolutely incredible, and I'll get to this quickly because I don't want to make this about this, is I have to give you an update because we sold out, Liv. You've been at work all day. All of the documents of freedom, the Constitution, Bill of Rights, these 3 books, which you can buy individually on the site, but the collection, which comes in the hardbound cover, they sold out in a matter of 24 hours.
That's pretty awesome.
Talk to the vendor, and vendor's like, we don't have any more. We're not making them. We haven't made them since 2017. You bought all of them. They're gone. So I'm coming up with a second situation. It's going to be a little more expensive. They're $49 right now, and that's because of the leather bound cover. It's $5 more than buying them individual. I think we're going to be able to get it for another 10 or so. But I'm talking to Jason from PFC Flags, and he's working on making the sleeve, instead of the leatherette, be wood, all polished. 3 books fit in there. And what's cool is that it's interchangeable because there's some other books that they have in single form, which is Common Cause. They've got a couple books by Washington and Alexander Hamilton, the Goodfellow letters, the Articles of Confederation. So there's a series of these books, which is great. I'm going to buy them all. And we're going to make sure that we have the wooden sleeve. On the outside, we'll have the American flag. And then on the spine, it will be documents of freedom. Or it just, you know, it could be presidential letters or, you know, Law and Order, things to that effect. On all these different books, there's plenty of them. So we're going to be making those. So hang with us. People are asking I'm getting an email. And it was only relieved live on the show. I mean, I haven't even put it on the site. And if I put it on the site, I don't know what would happen. I think it would absolutely blow up. Liv?
Yes.
Is your screen bright?
No, same as always.
I know what's happened.
Well, I'm wearing a hat, so
No.
it's
I accidentally turned up your light too high.
Oh.
There it is. That's fixed. So just to let you know, we'll have more of those in stock. Hang tight. All the orders are shipped. We got our first batch of them. Oh, hey, Liv, would you go grab it by chance? Or ask E?
For what?
We got the box. We got the delivery of one of them so I can show them. So just ask E to crack open the box and bring it. So we will have those. We're still going to put up the ad tonight. So you're going to go to the site. It's going to say out of stock. However, I think once we get the dimensions and everything from Jason next week, we'll get a pre-order going, and then people can order it, and then I'll, take 3 weeks or so, get the orders made, and then send them out. So let's just take it by air. But the singles are available if you want to get those. Yes, I can mail to an APO address. where do you donate on this, Matt? Well, that's not donation. You go to thedumshow.com. If you want to buy hats and shirts and the books I'm talking about, you go to thedumshow.com and do that. But if you want to donate, you use the PayPal link. And I don't want to make this show, the beginning of it, all about donations and stuff. I really appreciate everybody, being so supportive of it. But that's never going to be my design, is to try to get you guys to buy something right away. I just want to give you an update because, like I do with everything, it's exciting. It's really cool to see so many people. I mean, these are 3 of my favorite books, and I talk about them constantly. And the fact that you can get them now for a pretty decent price is pretty cool. So there you go. I just put the link in there for you if you're interested in donating, and that's straight to PayPal. Very simple, very easy. I appreciate you doing that. Thank you. And that's pretty much it. So that's all. Okay. So thank you very much for that. Ethan's bringing this in real quick. Ethan, you got to open it, buddy, and open what's in there.
Oh, I was trying to do that.
Here, just set it down here. Thanks, pal. I'll take care of it.
Thanks,
Have you ever
bud.
heard of a knife, buddy? Did you try to chew through it? Is that what took place?
No, I took a pencil.
You took a pencil. Why not a knife, son? Or, okay. Well, it looks like one of them is my workout shake. And there's that.
I think the bad one.
Nope, they're all 3. Here you go, buddy. Go put that back in the up there for me, please, pal. So this is yeah, we're gonna leave them sealed, but this is what they look like. So all 3 books come in here, and then on the back it says Documents of Freedom, and it's all leatherette, but it doesn't matter. It's amazing. So that's what they look like, and they come all sealed. So I'm sending these out. I've got another batch that just came in. So we had to get like 20 some odd, and now I've got to get all those orders filled. So anyway, so they're being shipped, and they should be here I think tomorrow. And the first set already went out, and then the second set will go out this weekend. All right. So since we've done that, appreciate everybody's support. Thank you for everything. Let's move on from there. Books, like I said, will be soon. All right. So here's the first of all, Liv, how are you?
I'm good. Apparently, somebody didn't know I had tattoos. Mentioned it.
Someone
Apparently
did. Show him your tattoo. Can we show him your tattoo? I mean, we said I can't share anything. Yeah. See, look at that.
No, I'll move the bed.
She's got one on her foot too.
What's that one?
And then she's got one on her back shoulder.
That back shoulder, it's the kids' footprints when they were born with their names and birth dates and a heart. And then I've got one going up my left calf that looks like this one.
Yeah.
And I want more.
So, and then she's got one on her left and right butt cheek. It's B on one cheek and then a B on the other. So it spells Bob.
Oh my gosh. Only you.
So I have to see that every time.
Makes you think of better days, huh?
Old Bobby.
Old Bob.
Thank God his name wasn't like Jebediah Tecumseh Roosevelt or something, because Josh, I don't think you have. Well, your ass is pretty big, so it would fit. It's a good listen. People, do you
Apparently, that's in the in thing right now.
Totally.
That's what
Do you
Hayden told me.
Every time I'm watching TikTok or Instagram or whatever, when I'm surfing for political stuff, there'll be some woman just all she does is work out on her glutes, and I'm like, what the? So I'm trying to get badunkadunk. You have natural. I mean, you're curved like this. It basically comes down and beep beep, and then comes down and goes, and it's forget about it. J-Lo, eat your heart out.
It's the Latino side of me.
Yeah, and the collecting knives is not an ancillary benefit. But
No.
The rest of it is pretty good. But anyway, just back that thing up. Just not guns hot. All right, so we got a good show tonight. We're gonna be quick because we've got Colorado Avalanche are playing tonight. Who are the Avs playing tonight?
The Kings at home.
Oh, that's always. Oh, we're gonna be at home with the Kings. Oh, chalk that up as a great game. That's gonna be amazing. So
Last game was
some people
amazing.
follow the Avs now since we follow them, and they've kind of adopted them. Zach Parisi is coming to the Colorado Avalanche, which is actually really exciting. We're going to get him for league minimum, and what we do with players for league minimum. If anyone has seen Jonathan Drouin, who went to Tampa Bay Lightning as a first-round pick, got paid an exuberant amount of money, then went and died up in Montreal, has not done anything. Well, he's firing it, just like killing it lately. I think he had a 9-game point streak. And when the Avs get first-round draft picks previous who aren't doing well for some reason, they just absolutely flourish on the Colorado Avalanche. And Zach Parise is a former first-round pick. He's an amazing player. He's established. I think he got something like 63 points 3 years ago, and then Minnesota Wild did him dirty, and then he was with the Islanders. Well, he's going to the Avs, and he's like, I want to play for the Avs. So league minimum, excited. Avs already are completely a powerhouse. They're missing 3 of their best players, and they're just crushing it. So let's go. Other than that, let's talk about some politics. We got a lot going on, and it's really tough for me to pick what we want to talk about. We talked about the border last night, but a little bit of the story of the golden calf. And I am not necessarily a religious person per se when it comes to the church. It doesn't mean that I don't participate in some feeling of devotion and deference to the Lord. And I have some sort of, I guess that mustard seed of faith is most assuredly accounted for. And that's a good thing, because there was a time where it wasn't even that. So I tend to still learn from the stories and try to live my life as best I can and take feedback. And this is why I'm working on my cussing and my frustration and anger level. And, hey, it's been 3 nights, and we'll see if we make it to 4. I'm assuming it's going to be pretty good, because I'm excited for the weekend. But the story of the golden calf, Exodus 32 in the Bible, some of you may know it, some of you may not. Doesn't matter. It's when Moses was away for way too long. The Israelites asked Aaron to make them a new god. And as we know all about false idols and false prophets, he took their golden earrings and jewelry and things to that effect and riches and made a golden calf for them. And then the calf was an idol that people worshipped instead of the real God. And these stories are obviously done in coloring books, and you've seen them on religious channels when you're younger. And then when you get into church, the story gets a little bit more intense. But either way, the lesson of it is twofold. And when we talk about this, the whole premise of the show, first topic tonight, was E. Jean Carroll, I said, got her golden calf. And I use that term specifically. Can anyone tell me why? Liv, do you know why I said golden calf? Because it's kind of like a double entendre, or it really is a double entendre. That's exactly.
No,
do you know what a double entendre is?
I
know you know what it is.
I couldn't say a definition, but
all right. So I'm going to give you the literal definition of a double entendre. A word or phrase that is open to 2 interpretations, essentially. So it can mean multiple things. Say one thing, but mean 2 different things. Does that make sense?
Like your, and your.
No, that's not a double entendre. Double entendre is like a sentence or a statement. I got it. So if I say F you, and I'm a sheep farmer, I could be saying F you as in female sheep,
sheep,
or F you as in you as a person in the singular. That would be a double entendre. So a double entendre is the golden calf. Oh, Amy says the color of Trump's hair. Emma says because they think that Trump supporters worship him. Emma, perfect. That's exactly why. And I will tell you that a lot of people do tend to worship Trump. And I think it's important to understand the idea of false idols. Now, when people start hearing that, they immediately get really upset and go, no, I don't believe that. We don't worship him. We believe this. And it's like, well, you just said he was anointed by God. You said he was sent by God. You said he's the only one that can save us. If I'm not mistaken, I thought that was our Lord and our Savior is the only one that could save us. I didn't know it was Donald Trump. So some people take it too far. And I'm not here to judge, because if I don't want you to judge me based upon my lack of faith, I'm certainly not going to judge you on your faith. What I'm saying is it's a double entendre, because E. Jean Carroll got her golden calf and was paid $83.3 million out of Trump's pocket. Now,
didn't she already get Didn't she already win a suit
Yeah,
and
she
get
already
money
won
from
10.
him? Why
Well,
is she suing
he
him
went
again?
back and said some things again. So they double indemnity. They went after him again financially. So this is the way it works. I mean, anytime she needs to rattle the piggy bank, she can just sit here and just sue him every time he says anything. And now this is the precedent we've set, and we're going to go into E. Jean Carroll tonight. But it's interesting because I use the double entendre in this because I wanted people to kind of open up their eyes to when I say Jean Carroll got her golden calf, the golden calf being Donald Trump. So it's a little bit of both, and I because I want people to understand that it's very feasible that nothing happened. Nothing happened with E. Jean Carroll and Donald Trump. In fact, I would be surprised. My personal gut feeling is that there was hanky panky and it was consensual.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
The way she talks about it does not. She doesn't sound traumatized by it.
no, not at all. In fact, she sounds excited by it and glorified.
Why doesn't? I know he's saying he didn't, but it just blows my mind.
God, you sound good.
Thanks.
You have your sexy voice. Folks, we got to go. We will see you next week on Monday. Thanks for watching the Don't Unfriend Me Show.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend.
Just kidding. Just your voice sounds. We've got your mic dialed in perfect, and it finally brings out your voice. And it's you got a good voice.
Thank you.
We should do a radio show where it's just straight up radio, and see if people, because you know how that is when people are doing radio shows, and then you see them in real life. You're like, oh, like Jamie. Remember we used to listen to Jamie and
Danny and Jamie.
Danny Bonaducci and Jamie, whatever her face.
Yeah.
And we just like, oh gosh, she's got such a sexy voice. And you saw her and you're like, ugh, meth head. Anyway, so Amy's like 1-900. Yeah, 1-900-1976. Thank you very much. All right, so the whole thing is, it's very feasible that what she's saying is true. Okay, and as far as we know, the rape isn't, because he wasn't found guilty or not guilty. This is a civil trial. So whether it says he was guilty of rape or not guilty of rape, it doesn't matter. And if they say he was guilty of sexual assault or not guilty of sexual assault, that is only from a litigation standpoint, from fiduciary responsibility. It has nothing to do with criminality. In fact, civil case requirements to apply a judgment against somebody from a monetary standpoint, the requirements are extremely loose, probably looser than E. Jean Carroll. So, I don't care when people are like, oh, he's been guilty of sexual assault. No, he hasn't. They found that they said he had sexual assault, which is why they put the judgment against him. But that's not the same thing. So, listen, I don't know Donald Trump. I know he's a philanderer. I know he has probably slept with more women than I could possibly count. I know he's cheated on his wives several times. We all know these things. And anyone who's going to hold him to a moral standard that he didn't screw around with people is, ridiculous. But the fact that you could even rape someone in a dressing room that is occupied by multiple people in a very elegant, busy store and retail location, without screaming, and supposedly your head was slammed against the wall and you didn't say anything, and then it sounds like an SVU TV episode. It's ridiculous. Like let me just walk you through some of the things. I took some notes because I like to do those things. Take notes. This is E. Jean Carroll just won $83.3 million, and listen to these things. Named her dog Tits and Vagina.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and I can completely agree with that. I completely get that, because can you imagine if all of a sudden they started wrestling, like, tits, get off vagina. It's hilarious. Or vagina, get off tits. Or stop licking your balls, vagina. Don't bite her, tits. I mean, you could just have fun with this all day long. I completely get why she would do it, but it's a little weird.
Yeah.
Told Anderson Cooper that rape is sexy. You're very interesting.
Because the fantasies.
We're going to listen to this, okay? And hear some of these things. Lives in a cabin in the woods called the Mouse House. It's called the Mouse House. Paints trees and rocks blue. Just randomly. I want to know the color of the shit in her bat cave. This lady, my dad used to say this, that lady is crazier than a shithouse rat.
You know, makes me wonder that she thinks rape is sexy, and because of fantasies, makes me wonder that she had a rape fantasy. And
I don't think that's
why-
what she was saying. I'm going to break that down, but it's still nuts for her to say it on national TV. A rape. I'm with you. Let's listen to the video, and I think I can explain it. But it doesn't matter. Even when it's explained and it's rational, it's still stupid for a rape victim to even remotely say. Nobody would sexualize rape because rape isn't about sex. It's about power and dominance. It has nothing to do with sexual gratification. In fact, most rapists can't even get it up to complete the deed. It has nothing to do with it. It's dominance. Lined up her entire allegations with the plot of an SVU episode. I told you that. Called sluts sexual geniuses. Liv, you're a sexual genius.
Yes, I am. Thank you very much.
Tweeted about learning sex tips from her dog.
She must go through a lot of peanut butter.
I was wondering, is it Jif or is it extra chunky? I mean, extra chunky seems a little uncomfortable. That would be a little rough.
Be a little uncomfortable.
So you probably
it's
want
gotta be creamy.
extra creamy, real smooth, like refined peanut butter, right?
Yeah.
Like not like
Can't be natural because natural peanut butter is grainy. It's got to be like.
It's got to be like almond butter.
Yeah.
Oily, really, really thin, not too abrasive. Yeah, I completely agree. So, is there something I need to? Do we have a dog? Is there something you need to know? You're very educated. Anyway, tweeted
We have
about
a cat. She doesn't eat peanut butter.
So, for her to say that Trump defamed her is a little interesting because you can go ahead and say things all the time. And all that Trump would have to say was, well, everyone who knew what I was saying knew I was kidding. There's people who get off all the time, but it's his notoriety. It's his stature. That's what got him in trouble. Is comedians can say they want to kill Trump. And to the NSA agents and the Secret Service who just came on, that's not, I'm quoting. People can say things all the time and then they just go, oh, well, I was just teasing. No rational person thought I was serious. This is what Tucker Carlson did on Fox about the stolen election and everything else. So for this to happen, this is obviously punitive outside the normal requirements of the law. To hit him with $83 million after a $10 million judgment.
Did she go through that $10 million already?
Well, there's a lot of rocks to paint. So let's just be
Yeah.
honest. In a forest, I mean,
A lot of peanut butter. You can get a lot of peanut butter with that much money.
a lot of double D Duracell batteries.
I wonder if her favorite dog is tits or vagina.
Ooh, I wonder. Well, it depends what she finds stimulating. You know, what would be even better is a little peanut butter on the aforementions on both spots to get double your pleasure with double mint fun, almost like double mint gum. I don't know. I don't know what tickles or pickle, but I would say what's better than 1? 2. Utah.
There you go. Give me 2.
Give me 2. All right. So now that we've actually crossed the line into bestiality, the night can really only go upwards from here.
Yeah.
Holy crap. I want to show you a video. And when I say this lady is batshit crazy, listen, you know what, lady, where's my, I don't have one anymore.
What are you looking for?
My censor button.
I don't know.
I took it off.
Oh.
I used to have a censor button where I could bleep myself. I need to put that back on now that I'm trying not to, because once in a while I just need to say it. I just got to let it, like, I need to dance. Let's put our backpacks in the middle of the floor and just dance.
Pickles.
Pickles.
The pickles.
And the pickles and some pickles. Someone get this lady pickles stat. But anyway, I want my censor button. This is interesting. Where did my bookmarks? There they are. Okay. So I'm going to show you 2 videos. First is an interview with Anderson Cooper. And this, if this doesn't do it for you, but I want to break this down because a lot of people say that she says that rape is sexy. That's not what she said. And I know it's crazy. And instead of listening to what she says, listen to the overall tonality that she's completely nuts. You get that whether you try to understand this portion of what she said or not. But if I'm going to rip her apart, I'm also going to be, because I did a video like 9-10 months ago on this, and I was like, she's nuts. I listened to it again. And I'm like, okay, stop, Matt. Try to filter this and see if you can understand what she's saying. Even though everything surrounding her statement is completely batshit crazy and she's nuts, let's listen to it. Here it is. I'm going to flip the audio, see, because I always forget. Yes.
Yay.
I know.
Good job.
I'm learning.
You don't
First
feel
time
like
for
a victim.
everything.
Yeah,
I was not.
I'm just going to play this over you because you're being mean.
You don't feel like a victim.
I was not thrown on the ground and ravished. Which the word rape carries so many sexual connotations. This was not sexual. It hurt.
But I think most people think of rape as it is a violent assault. It is not.
I think most
sexual.
people think of rape as being sexy.
Let's take a short break.
Think of the fantasies.
So what she's saying is, now from Freud's standpoint, okay, there's many things inside Freud when it comes to psychology that they said. Living vicariously through your children, being able to root a lot of things back to your parents, the Irish not having a conscience, so therefore they're the only people who can lie effectively, even though he did enough cocaine to kill, a small series of packs of horses. But Freud had some interesting thought processes, including fascinations of horrible things in the privacy of one's thoughts that would never be lived out. And I don't know if I agree with that. But when you look at a lady like this, who is liberally educated, who probably studied in some sort of social gender studies or something to that effect, it wouldn't be hard for me to believe that she dives into the theory that men have sexual fantasies of raping a woman in the inner workings of their mind. Now, to me, I don't know if I can get behind that literally. I think there's times with dominance and things like that, and what happens in a bedroom between a man and a woman, it's their business. And some people like missionary and ice cream cones and scripture, and other people get freaky deaky. So I don't know. But what she's trying to say, which she fails miserably, is that there are people who consider the dominance of rape to be sexual or something that turns them on, and that people have fantasies. Now, that would have been much better if she would have said, I think there are people out there who believe in their deepest, darkest fantasies of things that would not be considered normal or okay in a civilized society. Okay, that's a point you can make, and you can certainly make that point. She didn't make that point. What she did was say something completely stupid, nonsensical, and then topped it off with not just a mound of chocolate, peanut butter, and strawberry, I am freaking crazy. She topped it off with a giant I'm a loony from the bin cherry on top with a little bit of whipped cream. Speaking of the dogs, here's the rest of it.
We're just going to take a quick break. If you can stick around,
Yeah, Thomas, you're not listening to me. See, everyone's like, oh, I don't think that way. I don't think I didn't say you. You don't understand what I'm trying to say. Is that, yes, rape is not something that somebody would think about, okay? But there are people who have sexual fantasies that are considered taboo or not normal, and anyone who says they don't, they're lying. We're not saying rape, okay? Some people want to get dressed up in a pink tutu and spanked with a freaking wet rubber balloon. Some people want to be naked eating Jell-O standing on their head. We've seen it in the streets. We've seen it with Pride. Are you kidding me? There are some people who have these I don't know, what most people consider gross fantasies, and they live them out and act them out. And other people take it from other people. There are other people who have taboo fantasies that never even encroach upon them. So what I'm saying is, yeah, I didn't say every single person has rape fantasies. That's not what I said. I said everybody on the planet probably has a fantasy that they don't want anyone else to know about, because that's their own personal whatever tickles their pickle. Doesn't matter what she says or what she may think or how we interpret it. It's absolutely crazy, because if that statement was taken out of context, that's fine. When you apply the context of the rest of the the rest of the resounding conversation that she takes place, nothing benefits that from not being crazy. Everything she says is nuts. Because I'm going to show you a video here that's incontrovertible. Yeah, people say they're perverted. Ridiculous. Okay, so let me ask you a question. So this is an interesting point. Now, we got to go back to the big screen here. Let's go back to the big screen. So when you look at psychology or you look at criminology, this is an interesting thing. I don't want to have a conversation about people's sexual fantasies on my show. I have no desire. What I'm saying is there are people out there who are like, I've never had a homosexual fantasy in my life. Well, science and psychology and honest people will tell you that most people have. And it usually happens at a preteen age. And most people will have a dream or an experience where they see something from the opposite sex and have an interest. This is where the term play doctor comes from. I'm not making this shit up. You know it's true. Most people go, eh, and find out that that's not an interest for them. Or they wake up from that dream and they're like, this is repulsive. There's other people, obviously, who say it's not in their heads. Because you have a subconscious that's not necessarily controllable while you're sleeping or while you daydream or you're put into a situation that's a flash situation that you don't expect and you're taken by surprise and you have a reaction to it, that doesn't make you a homosexual. It doesn't make you a rapist. It doesn't make you a pedophile. It doesn't make you any of those things. The action of that does. And the people who follow through on that action then move into a completely different set of mind. Let me give you an example. And Liv, see if you can help me with this in case I'm not being clear. Have you ever thought about killing anybody, Liv?
Yes.
You're a homicidal maniac and you deserve to be put in jail for the rest of your life. Do you see how this works? Mm-hmm. So you're not a homicidal maniac. I've thought about killing people. I've actually, it doesn't matter. So because you explore something in your head. Have you ever thought about running somebody off the road when you're driving?
Yes. Yeah.
Right. But are you going to go do it? No.
No.
So you have those feelings. I mean, have you ever had a thought of stealing, even though you know it's wrong? Right. Have you thought, oh my God, I would just love to like rob this bank and be like you see that safe behind there where they're counting money and go, God, I would just love to steal every dime. But so just because you have feeling or impure thoughts, this is what sin is. The difference between having an impure thought and acting on it is the difference between, original and acting out that sin and having a thought or an impure thought that you don't act on. So the same things with homosexuality, the same things with rape, the same things with spousal abuse, the same thing as alcoholism or kicking a puppy. Just because you have an emotion or a feeling doesn't necessarily mean that you are that person. It's the action that does. So when E.G. Carroll says, I think people think it's sexy, or I think people, okay, from a psychological standpoint, I can see where you're coming from, but you weren't able to explain it like I could. Mm-hmm. And this shows that what's going on in her head doesn't necessarily make her. Hold on a second.
The sharpest tool in the shed.
Tommy, I'm not incriminating myself. There's no victim. So I can sit here and say, of course I felt that. So have you. So has everybody. Everybody has had that feeling of just wanting to pummel somebody or break the law or do something stupid. Anybody who's been pulled over by a cop, there's a feeling of fear. The fight or flight mechanism is real. So I'm not incriminating myself because I say I wanted to hurt somebody. But there's no victim in this. So anyway, I'm not incriminating myself on anything because I've never acted out. But when I say, oh, I think I see what he was saying when I was saying that's military. So there's nothing I can do. Trust me. I don't think any tribunal's coming for me 25 some odd years later. But the point is, Tommy, I get your point. Thanks. I think. You tell me if I'm right or wrong. But what I'm trying to say is just because somebody feels a certain thing, it doesn't mean that your soul doesn't take a burden on that. And you should, ask for forgiveness if religion is your thing, or you should take a quiet moment and reflect on why you're thinking about this. For her to say this on national TV as a victim, exploring the thoughts of what other people are thinking and how they conceptualize rape, that doesn't sound like a victim to me. It sounds like somebody who's fascinated with it, someone who is enamored with it, someone who has investigated it and understands the inner workings of what accusations look like versus reality. What do you think, Liv?
Sorry, I didn't.
Yeah,
know
what
you
a
were
time to
asking
take
me
a drink, Liv.
question.
Jeez, Louise, get professional. Go ahead.
Yes, I don't. I mean, I haven't talked to a lot of rape victims, but I would assume that most of them are not going to be talking so nonchalantly about it if they've been raped, and they're not going to be taking what happened to them and saying that, well, I think other people think it's sexy and it's a fantasy there, because all
Donald
they're going
Trump
to be
is
thinking
sexy.
about, all they're going to be thinking about is what happened to them,
Right.
and what happened to them was not good. So
That's right. Yeah.
that's why I don't think. She was
Well,
raped,
let's
but-
listen to the rest.
I hate men.
We know, Hillary. We know. Here's the rest. Let's watch it in context from start to finish.
I was not thrown on the ground and ravished, which the word rape carries so many sexual connotations. This was not sexual. It hurt.
But I think most people think of rape as it is a violent assault. It is not.
I think most
sexual.
people think of rape as being sexy.
Let's take a short break.
Think of the fantasies.
See, and I think I understand what she was trying to say, that most people who commit these things thinks it's sexy, right? Or think of the fantasies. They do it as a fantasy. See, that's the power trip, right? I think I understand what she's trying to say. But when you put the whole thing together, it's completely lunacy. Just wait till the next video and you'll understand what I'm saying here.
We're just going to take a quick break. If you can stick around, we'll talk more on the other side.
Hold on.
You're fascinating to talk to.
Ugh. So cringe. I mean, he
You don't feel like a victim.
couldn't duck out of that interview fast enough.
Well,
What-
I think
what-
Anderson Cooper was a little flabbergasted. He seemed to trip up a little bit on his words right there.
Well, right. He probably called his boyfriend afterwards and said, okay. So anyway, so this is the Mouse House. And if you haven't seen this, I was going to do a show on this, and I was like, screw this lady. I'm done talking about her, but I've got to now. $83 million. She deserves it.
Very distinguished.
This is truly troubling. And I don't know what to say, but this is, just watch.
Mice live here. Kahneman lives in the kitchen. Taberski lives in the bedroom. This is my shed. And on that side are the books that most influenced me growing up. On the door are the lists of my dogs. Marky, Fortuna de la Spunky, Heidi, Tits, Bloody, and Hepburn. The streams and the rivers were dry. And it so horrified me that I came out and started painting the rocks blue to indicate that there was once a river here. And then after I got done painting the rocks, I just sort of walked over here and then did that tree and then did that tree and then I did this tree. And then pretty soon I'd done this whole forest. Very distinguished.
You just gave that woman $83 million. That's a lot of rocks and a lot of trees.
Yep.
Two things. The Anderson Cooper video was not able to be showed during the trial. The judge disallowed that from being used.
Why?
Because they said it wasn't pertinent to what she went through. So videos like this or videos like that, they essentially just destroyed Trump's ability to defend himself. And all of this is just, it's accusatory. The punishment alone, $83.3 million from a woman who wasn't even close to establishing that type of salary. See, if you're going to do damage to my career and say you're going to go ahead and hurt me, what they would have to do is they have to take the valuation of my home, valuation of my life insurance, right? And the potential of my business. So say someone defamed me and it took down Unfriend me. We would have to assume on the current trajectory of 185,000 people watching the show over a period of whatever, with 3 million people impacted each month, that if this continues to grow on the current trend, it would be what that would look like from a financial standpoint. Then I would take all my records, all my payments, turn them in, and they would calculate that times the component or the unknown X, which would be the amount of years that I have remaining, and they would come up with a salary and a figure and go after that. How they came up with $83.3 million baffles me, because I've got it broken down. I've got it broken down based on what she got. And here it is.
What state did it? Was it New York?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's the, I'm looking for the totals. And of course, you know, news sucks. They never just get to the point, do they?
No, they have to suck you in first.
Okay. The compensator amount included $11 million for repairing her reputation, $18.3 million in compensatory, so that's basically lawyer fees, $65 million in punitive damages, and $7.3 million for emotional harm. This is ludicrous. It's absolutely baffling. Like, you're saying that there was no rape, zero rape. So her initial claim is a lie. She lied. She said it was rape. The charge was for rape. They said there is no rape. So they downgraded it to sexual assault. But how do you prove intent? It is he said, she said. There is no physical proof. There's no DNA test. There's no pap smear. There's no rape kit that was done. There was no complaint up until she filed some sort of complaint and then never followed through with it. She couldn't remember what day it was, when it happened. And really, at this point, why these lawyers aren't trying to get a change of venue for these cases? Because there is no way that Donald Trump is going to have a fair trial in New York. It's just not going to happen.
Can Trump appeal it?
Yeah. Yeah, he can appeal it. But then you're not going to get it. You're not going to get it because he was already found guilty of sexual assault and she was awarded damages for what he did, and then he went out and did it again. He opened up his mouth again.
She probably shouldn't have done.
Right. Donald Trump should learn to shut up. He doesn't know how. And there's an old adage, you don't fight City Hall. There's also another adage, you got to see the big picture. And this, he should have paid his $10 million and never brought up her name again and just shut up. Because there's no winning this. You can't win a civil suit. It's not a criminal trial. Nothing goes on your record. This is just completely, it's stupid. It's a tax. You grabbed her, maybe. You guys got fingery in a freaking dressing room. You probably were buying her some sexual lingerie. You're
probably having an affair.
No, I don't even think they're having an affair. I think he met a woman who he knew a friend, and he decided to diddle her in a dressing room and get handy with her. And she cried about it later, years later, and brought it up in 2016 and then went away and then brought it up again in 2020 and then 2022. And here we are. He should have just paid the $10 million and shut up. But Donald Trump doesn't know how to shut up. And that's, so I don't feel, here's the thing. I don't feel bad for Donald Trump over this. I don't. He just could have went to that trial and just shut his mouth. Just be quiet. Don't take the stand. Don't do anything. Write the check. Be quiet. It's $10 million. Essentially, it's a week and a half of overall revenue for you. Who cares? Who cares? That's like us getting taxed $250 by the IRS. Just pay it. Because you're not going to win. You can't win. They're like, well, what about the system? And no, this isn't the law. This is civil court. This is a completely different thing. And most civil cases, most of them, wind up either costing the defendant an ungodly amount of money in defense fees, or they get hit with a penalty. So either way, you're going to pay. Of course, it's a joke. It's not fair. Of course, it's not fair. In no way, shape, or form am I saying it's fair. But you've all had lawyers. I've had lawyers represent me most recently. You know what they told me? Shut up.
That's the first thing, yep.
You're really a smart fucking guy. In fact, you're too smart. Be quiet. Don't talk. If I have a question, I will bring you in. If I need you, I will bring, and my lawyer brought me in a couple times, knowing damn well that he can release me and I'm going to go ahead and do what he needs to make the case solid. And there were times later in our court case that he started relying on me, and he would come in and go, Matt, look at, would show me. He goes, what are we going to do about this? So it became a we thing once we trusted each other. But the first time I talked to him, I said, Matt, shut up. And do you think that's hard for me to do? It's almost impossible for me to shut up. I'm like, I'm a smart guy. I'll crush these people. Put me on the stand. I will destroy them. You won't. Because you are not going to be able to please a jury of 12, all of them. Some of them will hate you no matter what. And if you don't know that, just watch the show. 1 out of 10 people literally want to boil my skin in a vat of acid. They despise me. The same things with a jury pool. You can't please everybody. So when you get up there and you start yapping, all you need is one of them to say, nope, no, I'm going to move forward with punitive damages, and here's why. He should have shut up, but he didn't. So he got hit. What does that mean? It's a quarter worth of revenue for him. Who cares? Honestly. But if you think he's not going to fight it, he will. He'll appeal, and they may reduce it. They may find that the judgment is excessive, which it sounds very excessive to me. Like, I think they will absolutely break it down, and they'll plea it down to an undisclosed amount. And honestly, what he should have done is he should have said this. This is what you do. The moment that she did this, if I was those lawyers, I would be like, we have proposed a settlement to keep this out of court, so we have caused no more harm to Miss Carroll. Her state of mind is very important to us, and she's obviously very distraught, very upset. And the last thing that my client wants to do is put her through any more emotional harm caused by her having to come forward as she feels, whether right or wrong. We don't want to put her through that. So we are going to go behind closed doors, and we're going to offer her a settlement. We know that's what's going to happen anyway, and we're going to move on from this, and Miss Carroll can get back to her life. And you know what E.G. and Carroll would have done? They would have denied it. Because they didn't want the money. That was an ancillary benefit to exposing Trump and putting him on stage. The moment they did that, her credibility would have went in the toilet. And they could have used it against her in the trial and say, we had offered her several opportunities to settle out of court with an undisclosed amount of money that was more than fair, that would not include the lawyer fees of her defense attorneys, which are up in the millions. We just saw that she was given like, what, 14 million for
11 million.
11 million for lawyers' fees. We felt it was more than fair, and she denied it. Why? Because she wants to make a mockery of my client. This is what you do. But I don't know, because his lawyer's hot and she's hot. There's no, damn, she's smoking. Now, I can understand him getting grabby with her for sure. I would take her to a dressing room if I was Donald Trump, not E.G. Carroll. A little bit of humor, folks. And don't look at me that way, because you and I have been in the dressing room together.
I wasn't looking at you anyway.
I hope. I'm just letting you know. Just don't play all coy with me. I know you.
never play coy with you.
I know your history. I know your story. Your mom doesn't, but I do. The whole point of this is that he had an opportunity to play it smart. And I don't know who these lawyers are, but they suck. And you know what? Donald Trump has the worst lawyers in the world. Donald Trump, here's the thing. I haven't even passed the bar. But I will be your personal attaché. I will be your, I don't know, consigliore.
What?
Look it up. I will be.
Spell that.
Really? It's Italian. Consigliore.
I don't speak Italian.
Come on. I will be your not an attaché. I'll be your, what do they call it in hotels? That person who is a jack of all trades.
Why can't I think of it?
It's in the Latin. You know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. Who'll get tickets and come on, somebody help me out.
What's the
name? BS advisor. That's pretty close, JD. Come on. Oh, it's right there. It's right there.
It starts with an A, doesn't it?
No, I don't think. I thought it was an E. Hotel.
Concierge.
Doesn't
Doesn't start with an A or an E.
It's French.
Thank you.
Concierge. Look up consigliore.
Come
on. And honestly, consigliore might be the plural of concierge. I wouldn't be surprised.
A member of a criminal organization or syndicate who serves as an advisor?
It's mafia. And that's how I know, because he used to call Polly, he's my consigliore.
So there you go.
It's from Sopranos, right? Consigliore. I knew it was mafia related, but concierge is French, I would think, and consigliore has to be Italian. So close enough. And they seem like to be the etymology of the same word. You know what I mean? Yeah, but concierge. That's exactly what I'll be his concierge. I'll be your go-to guy. Don't give him an offer he can't refuse. His emissary. Ooh, that's good. And I will establish his idioms. Your idioms, sir. Dude, I'm like, Trump, come here. I want you to go, and I want you to go eat some truffle with golden flakes on it. I want you to go over to Salt Bay's steakhouse. Go over there and get something nice. Just bring your lawyers in for a minute. Give me 5 minutes with your lawyers. Send out Trump and be like, all right, let me have it. Come in. Let me hear it. What do you got? You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. You're really good looking, but you're fired. Because that's what he needs. Donald Trump needs a middleman. Donald Trump needs somebody to filter the bull crap out of his life and keep it away from him. Because I will say this, and I mean this with all the love of my heart. Donald Trump is the worst judge of character ever. He's horrible at it. Who is the lady that you watched The Apprentice? Who is the lady that he got, Alzaranza or whatever her name is?
That was on his cabinet for a little bit.
Yeah. It's not Condoleezza Rice. What was her name? What was her name?
I'm going to find out right now.
What was it? Gosh, getting old. There's only so much in the brain box, you know? Amaretto?
Omarosa.
Oh, I was
neat.
close enough. Omarosa, Amaretto, whatever, same damn thing. Omarosa. Almond Roca was her name. Good looking woman, smart, batshit crazy. And that should show you right there, E. Jean Carroll. She's crazy too. And honestly, a lot like Omarosa. So Trump has a horrible judgment of character. He can't, he couldn't judgment his way out of a wet paper bag. And we know this by his administration. He surrounded himself with complete douche plows. So it comes down to this. I think E. Jean Carroll, she thinks she's nuts. You want to sue me, lady? Go ahead. You can take it all. There's not much there. But she's psycho. Donald Trump opened up his mouth too much. And honestly, here we go again. 91 indictments. Still no criminal charges that actually stick. Where's the document scandal? Where's Georgia interference of election? Where's obstruction? Once again, all of this crap, they're holding on to it. And the continuance that they keep getting and kicking the can down the road, you're not going to see these trials before the election. You're just not going to see them. You're just not going to see them. So now that we've established this, she's crazy. She has absolutely no right to his money, but she's going to get it because this is what happens when you're rich, okay? People want the golden calf, and they got it. Quick break. Livy and I will be right back. It's a great time to take a toity break. Now, once again, you're going to hear the commercial. The book set, we have the individual books. I'm working on getting all three. I'm working on getting all three back. We sold a metric grip ton of these things, and this is what they look like. They are going to get back in stock soon. We're shipping these all out. We sold out in 24 hours. I cleared the vendor out and the publishing house of these things. There's no more. You can't find them. Can't find them on eBay. Can't find them on Amazon. They're nowhere to be found. So I'm coming up with a solution. Either they're going to restock them, or I'm using my good friend from pfcflags.com, Jason, who you guys know, to make a wooden sleeve for these. So they all get in nice and tight and they're represented properly. But anyway, watch the video. You can still go buy them. Also, we have shirts and hats and all that. We also have the new shirt, which we just released, which is the Come and Take It shirt, which we are selling these like absolute crazy. Do me a favor, get them now before we start selling out, because we will sell out of these darn things. And then enjoy this. And then Olivia, if you're going to use a toity, now's the time. Hey, what's going on, Don't Unfriend Me Nation? Matthew Spear from the Don't Unfriend Me podcast. It's interesting. I've had these books for, 3 years now, and I've got, 3 independent books of the Declaration, the Bill of Rights, and the Constitution of the United States that I inherited from my mother. Leather-bound, beautiful, and they're older books, 1935, 1937, something to that effect. I'll show them on the show, but people see me reference these nightly on the show. And the interesting thing is I've never really put 2 and 2 together. We have a website, and someone asked last night, hey, how the heck do I get those books? Where do I get those books? And it dawned on me that I should provide these. So they are now on sale. They're beautiful books. They're leatherette books. They're hardback, which is nice. They don't have a dust cover or anything. I've used these, like I said, ad nauseum, and they hold up and they stand the test of time. They've got pictures of the framers, founders, inside the books. They make references with different colors to kind of explain things in a little bit of a simpler way or give some context. But this is word for word, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the Declaration. So it's a pretty cool thing. $14.99 per book, and then I'll ship them to you. And then we also have the Documents of Freedom collection, which is all 3 books, and it comes in a hardbound sleeve, which is really nice. And I think that's $49.99. So take a look on the site. You can peruse as much as you want, and now you can own the books that I have on the show. Thanks so much, and I'll see you guys 7 o'clock, Monday, Wednesday. No, wait, 7 o'clock all week long, Monday through Friday, 7 o'clock. We'll see you live. Good night, everybody. So appreciate it. So remember, folks, the sleeve itself we don't have, but we have the individual books for $14.99. You can use the code on that, DUM10, save 10%, makes it a little bit more affordable. Or you can wait until we get the next solution on those. It's up to you. Either way, a bunch of stuff at the site. Thanks for all your help. Thanks for your participation in that. We greatly appreciate it. So final word. E. Jean Carroll, $83.3 million. A completely ridiculous sum of money. I imagine that this is going to be tied up in court for quite a while. He's not going to have to pay this. They're going to try to appeal this. They're going to try to get that judgment reduced. It honestly sounds excessive. And understand this is that they probably took it to the absolute line. Now, if they would have come back and said you have to give her $1 billion, right? The judge would have had to have stepped in and say that that is an excessive number. There are certain maximum penalties that can be assigned to civil matters, and they probably took it right up to the nut. And now his attorneys will appeal and try to prove that this figure is absolutely astronomically high, and she's going to be a while before she sees the money. She would have been smarter just to settle this out of court. But once again, this wasn't about the money. She knew she was funded by LinkedIn. She knew she was funded by a Democrat operative who spent time with Epstein. This is all dirty. It's all crap. It is whatever. It's just they're going to continue to do it. And the thing is that as people are sick of Avengers and superhero movies, people are getting very, very tired. Very, very tired of just going after Donald Trump incessantly. People are sick of it. And this is what I told you would happen. This is why you never impeach Biden. You never impeach Biden. You just get him after the election. If Trump loses, then you impeach him. Don't do it now, because all of this is just going to make Donald Trump stronger. I've told you this. You don't impeach people. Bill Clinton got a bump. Trump got a bump. Nixon got a bump. You don't want to give Biden a bump. Let him look like the aggressor against Trump, and Trump make him look like the victim. Anybody that can make Trump look like a victim, that's an amazing. That's like David Copperfield type magic. Why? This is great for polls. People are getting just kind of anesthetized to this attack on Trump. So good. Let him keep doing it. Yeah, it's costing Trump a lot of money, but this is free press. This is free money. It's free political capital. It's a lot less than running commercials 24 hours, 7 days a week. So let him do it. Just keep coming after him. You're not going to get anything criminal to stick until after the election anyway. And then once he's in and he wins, if he does win, he's just going to pardon himself. So who cares? This is all stupid. They know it's stupid. And honestly, if he doesn't get in, the next president's going to pardon him. They're not going to let a president go to jail. This is not going to happen. He'd be the laughing stock of the world. It's just not, people are so stupid. The same reason they expect Hunter Biden to go to jail. Hunter Biden's not going to jail. None of them are going to jail. Isaac, when you call in, as long as you're sober, you can call in. Otherwise, I don't want you to call in. Because you don't talk about anything, man. if you have a topic, I'd love to hear from you, Santa. But you got to bring a topic. You can't just sit there and drink beer and smoke weed. I mean, it's fun, but it's not really fun. So if you have a topic, I'll let you on. All right, so I'm going to let you on. You call if you have a topic. If you don't have a topic, I'm going to hang right up on you, Santa. It's too far from Christmas. I don't care. All right, let's get to that. Hey, Liv, that was a 1-minute break. We're supposed to be going to the next segment, but my wife is MIA. Nice 1-minute judgment there, kid. What happened? Okay, blah, 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 blah. Nobody needs to know. Okay, sorry you don't feel well. do you need to jump?
No.
You okay?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'll be okay.
I'm sorry you don't feel good. Poor baby. I promise to do nothing to help you other than make fun of you incessantly.
You can give me a massage.
No, I don't think that's going to happen.
Of course not.
I don't have any new moves. It's 25 years. Listen, there's no mystery anymore. What do you want from me? You've seen it all. There's nothing new here. It's just, that's it. There's no tango. There's no maracha. There's no mashed potato. It's just slow dancing with the occasional stepping on toes. All right. See, I gave Isaac the phone number. He's like, I want to call in. I said, if you're stoned or you're drinking, you can't call in. And you got to have a topic. And the phone hasn't rang. So, all right. If you want to call in 804-212-2208, let's get to the next topic because this is the one that Olivia. Oh, crap. Hi, Isaac.
Same reason they expect Hunter Biden to go to jail. Hunter Biden's not going to jail.
You got to turn off the audio, man. You've done this before. Come on. All right.
Yeah.
What's going on, man?
Hey,
you're sober.
There are accusations.
Hey, you're sober. Isaac, you're sober. Is this the first time we've ever talked?
A lot of money.
Isaac, can you hear me?
Yeah.
You're sober.
I'm out of money. It's in the money.
Oh. Okay. All right. Give me your question, Isaac. What do you want, Santa?
Uncle Joe had accusations of somebody, as several women had done the same thing that they're accusing Trump of.
Correct.
It's all been like suppressed in the press.
Mm-hmm.
Where is the information and the hypocrisy on all this is just amazing.
Yeah, well, it absolutely is because, you got to remember the whole thing of believe all women, right? You remember that crap, her truth, hashtag her truth.
And what they did to that one Supreme Court justice guy, and they ran him through the ringer. And
Thomas Kavanaugh, yep.
Yeah, I don't remember his name. He don't mean nothing to me. He's one of them jerk-offs in a black robe.
Okay. Yeah, Kavanaugh was his name. And then what they did to Amy Coney Barrett, calling her a Stepford wife and all that other stuff. Yeah, I mean, listen.
And Clarence Thomas back in the day. I mean, these are the same playbook, man.
Yeah.
Well, they are throwing confusion, hate, dividing and conquering. And what I wanted to express to you is I was stationed in PI, okay?
Yep.
I was there during Marcos's overthrow, okay?
Yep.
There was a civil war about ready to pop off.
Yep.
All right? There was tension so thick you could cut it with a knife.
Yep.
There was a little girl that put a flower in the soldier's gun barrel. I mean, it was a standoff, a Mexican standoff, and it stopped it right there.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just amazing. So the smallest thing, maybe the children are going to save us, but this thing at the border, I don't have an answer. You're fixing to have a convoy, and Breaker 19, good buddy. This here is a rubber duck.
Yeah, rubber ducky.
Out there. We got big problems, and Trump is not the only person in this country, okay? Yeah. It's going to take all of us to fix this.
Yeah.
There are a lot of good people working at this, and It's just going to take the wrong action, whether it's a Floyd case or a Smollett case or Nancy Pelosi or Hilly and Billy. If something's going to pop off or we get a attack with the big boom booms, something's going to happen. I mean, all this confusion, chaos, and anarchy is just going to lead to more civil unrest. And they already got the UN stationed here, ready to come knock on your door, and they're gonna put you down. They're gonna drag you out, treat you like a dog, and they don't give up. Okay, I'm trying to watch my language too, because I'd rather just let you say whatever you want to say. And as far as these Bible thumpers, I have one question for all them Bible thumpers: is how many animals did Moses have on the ark? Okay, these people hide behind their Bible when they call in and tell you you're cussing and not taking the Lord's name in vain. That ain't nothing to do with this. The camaraderie that we share in the military and how you speak to people, and you caught my attention because that's how we talk to each other in the military, and it built up the banner, and we were able to relate to each other, and we knew things without saying them, and it was just a trained response because we had all been through the same training. Okay.
Yep.
These people have no training. They have no skill. They are not intelligent, and yet they are running this country. Okay.
Yeah.
They think that they are going to do this to America. They got another thing coming, brother. And I'll be the first to tell you. All right.
All right. Are you are you feeling okay?
I'm mad.
Yeah, you sound mad.
They're messing with my coffee. And this World Economic Forum guy is just put something in the chat there on the post that said they're going to mess with the coffee. You mess with my coffee, and we're going to have problems, okay? We're going to have big problems.
So when you mention a truck convoy, is there a truck convoy down to the southern border that I'm not aware of?
It's headed that way in February, which is Groundhog Day, February 2nd. And happy Valentine's Day, Mama Bear. It's always a quiet one.
Well, Isaac, I listen. I've never seen you in such a serious mood before. Usually, you're fairly jovial and reminiscent of Santa Claus. But you know what? Everyone has an edge. Everyone has something that frustrates them. I want to make one mention of one thing. I don't believe that anyone should hold me to a standard of what they would expect from someone in church, and I will not hold you to an expectation of somebody who's ever been downrange serving their country in the military. So Isaac is right and wrong. One is that your religious beliefs are absolutely well within your right to feel any way that you want. But you also don't get to apply your religious beliefs to me because I don't necessarily share your same opinion when it comes to cussing. And this is a great topic, which I didn't want to, but I think I'm going to just do it right now because I think it's something that Olivia would enjoy, and Isaac, you can listen into, and we can have a quick conversation about this. You cool with that, Isaac?
Yeah, but can you turn the volume up? My computer is really
okay.
I can't hear you. I'll put it in there 3x5. I mean, but as far as umbrage,
how's that? All right, how's that?
Being downrange, Desert Storm, Desert Shield, baby.
All right, so,
I've been downrange.
So listen to that and let me know how it is. Olivia, go ahead, talk.
Testing. Can you hear me?
It's my fault. I had it actually turned down from earlier today. That's my fault. So that should be better for everybody. Okay, if it was too quiet. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you, Isaac. Listen in on this and see what you think. Okay.
Peace out.
All right, pal. See ya. A lot there. A lot I don't agree with. Some I do. But that's life. So here's the thing. We're going to do this real quick. We got time. Is that I hear all the time, Matt, you cuss and it's against God's law. No, it's not.
I don't think there's any law or anything in the Bible that says you can't cuss.
Nope. There's not one word. And
It's not the 10
and
Commandments.
I am not going to preach to you because I don't understand the word of God. That's why I didn't write it. And that's why I'm not a prophet. And I am incapable of understanding God. But I am very, very... Was there an echo?
No, I it's only one person that said it might be their feed, so I would suggest they close out and come back in and try again.
Okay. So let's break through this, okay? Is that I'm going to show you a series of verses, and then I am going to give you my opinion. This is the one that's used, and Olivia, chime in here
Okay.
at any time. This is that Ephesians or Ephesians? I knew I was one or the other. Let no unwholesome word proceed from your mouth. Okay. So once again, like the Second Amendment, people take one section and ignore the comma because after the comma is the pause and the context of what unwholesome means is about to be interjected. So when people just read that, it sounds like unwholesome. That's cussing. No. This is the number one that's quoted to me all the time. This is the only thing that specifically says what would be considered, in my opinion, a curse word. Because if you base it off of what I'm about to say, all the other verses and all of the other phrases and all of the other idioms that are thrown my way all correlate to Ephesians. Is that Ephesians, right?
Yes.
Ephesians 4:29. Let no unwholesome word proceed from your mouth, but only such a word as is good for edification, according to the need of the moment, so that it will give grace to those who hear. What's edification? Who wants to define edification? Do you want to?
Education?
Well, it's shin, so it's an action. We know that. What else?
Editing of some sort.
So I guess you could say editing because it's the changing of something, right? So edit, the improvement of the mind. And understanding, especially by learning, is edification. The act or process of edifying. So to change, to alter through education, through tutelage, through learning, that is edification. So very similar to education. But instead of something that can be accessed by yourself, it's actually imposed upon you and disseminated through another person, giving you essentially feedback. That's edification. Now, let no unwholesome word proceed from your mouth. If I tell somebody you're being an a-hole, is that edification? Yes, it is. You're telling someone very specifically that they're being a certain way and that action needs to change. That's not unwholesome. Because it says, and listen again, but only such a word as is good for edification according to the need of the moment. The need of the moment. So it's not unwholesome that defines the entire sentence. It's the need.
But who's to judge what word?
No. That's a deflection. This is in written context. This is instruction. This is a verse. This is the word. So we don't even need to do that. All I have to say is according to the need of the moment. So what you're saying is if someone's coming at you to do you harm, like the Romans, and they're just going to go ahead and confiscate you and decide to go ahead and crucify you or whatever else it would be, are you supposed to say, oh, no, please stop. Don't do that. In fact, would you like to have a cup of tea? Based upon the need of the moment, there might be some colorful metaphors and some raising of voices that are in the need of the moment to transpose your interjection of thought and defiance to what's taking place. And based upon that need, that judgment is yours alone and nobody else's, because you're the person who has to identify what the need in the moment is so that it will give grace to those who hear. And telling someone that they're an a-hole once in a while is going to give them grace because it's happened to me. I've had people say, you're this way and you need to stop. And it did give me grace and it gave me humility. I had somebody tell me last night, I don't appreciate when you cuss. Guess what? Of course, it didn't make me feel good. Of course, it made me uncomfortable. But guess what? It helped. Edification took place because it was what was needed in the moment. So don't sit here and use this against me anymore because that's not what it says. Just like the Second Amendment is bastardized by the left, don't do the same things that they do. So you might say, well, Matt, there's other parables and verses. And we could go ahead and get a pastor on here and we can ask them. But for the land is full of adulterers, Jeremiah 23:10. For the land mourns because of the curse. The pastures of the wilderness have dried up. Their course also is evil, and their might is not right. Here's another one. James 1:26. This is used often as well for an excuse that cussing is not allowed. If anyone thinks himself to be religious and yet does not bridle his tongue, but deceives his own heart, this man's religion is worthless. That does not mean cussing. It means lying. If anyone thinks himself to be holy, religious, in deference to the Lord, and yet does not bridle, to curb, to stop, to censor his tongue, but yet continues to deceive, lie, extort, steal, manipulate his own heart, this man's religion is worthless. It's not about cussing. It's about lying. It's about one of the commandments. Let's keep going. Exodus 27. You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain, for the Lord will not leave him unpunished who takes his name in vain. I don't. And when I do, I humble myself and apologize. And I think I've done it 3 times on the shows. And when other people do it, I ask them to stop. If you remember, one of the Groypers used the Lord's name in vain several times, and I said, please stop. So I'm not going to carry that cross. Okay? Here's another. The good man out of the good treasure of his heart brings forth what is good, and the evil man out of the evil treasure brings forth what is evil. For his mouth speaks from that which fills his heart. It's simply saying, don't imply or intend evil upon other people through your words. There's nothing evil about calling someone a jerk. There's nothing evil about calling someone a sanctimonious a-hole. There's nothing evil about telling someone to F off. You can say all those things in other ways, yet the meaning is still the same. I've only got a couple more. I was going to do a whole show on this, but I just figured I'd do it live because I figured it'd be interesting. Last one. But above all, my brethren, do not swear. Do not swear. Here it is. James 5:12. This is the coup de grace. This is the big bambino. This is the one that's going to shut me down because, Matt, it says do not swear. Yet you don't follow the comma, which is a pretense to the rest of the sentence, which is going to define the rest of the beginning of the sentence with context. Either by heaven or by earth or with any other oath, but your yes is to be yes and your no is to be no, so that you may not fall under judgment. Do not swear, do not promise.
Yeah, so it's not as a swear as a cuss word.
There is nothing in the Bible that talks about cussing. In fact, there is nothing in the Bible that talks about cussing, because I have went through 37 verses that could be misconstrued as cursing, and none of them say anything like that. Not one. So take your judgment, and I will be judged. And although I have stopped my cussing to an extreme extent, I think it's disingenuous for you to say that the Bible says not to cuss when the Bible says no such thing. Amy, what's wrong? What's wrong?
No, I have a question.
Yeah.
Some of these people that say don't cuss, are they some of the same people who think Trump is the second coming of Christ?
No, it's not about that. I think people have been raised that cursing is a sin.
I was.
And I've read the 10 Commandments. There's nothing about cursing. Now, I think cursing towards your parents would be dishonor thy mother and father, for sure. I'm not saying cursing can't be disrespectful. I'm not saying that cursing can't be a sin. Of course it can be. But when you're talking about edification, which is the predominant verse that people quote, it says for what is needed or what is considered to be paramount for the communication to be disseminated to that person to create a situation of edification. There's no, now a pastor can come in here and they can tell me all these things and they can say all this and explain it to me, but I will debate any pastor because your or priest or father or whatever, clergyman, is because you can go ahead and you can say anything you want and spin it, but words are words. And if God doesn't make a mistake, then those words are put there for a specific reason. And the meaning of those words, which some of those words weren't even around in the Latin or in Aramaic. And any pastor that sits here and tries to tell me that 13th century Latin was being used during the time of Christ, I've got some questions, right? So let's stop pretending that this is a written verbatim word for word, that the interpretation of man is in the Bible because man is flawed. And if you're going to sit here and tell me that these words don't hold the contextual meaning that they have in the past, that's fine. You can see that in the Second Amendment. A lot of people think regulated means to be restricted. Regulated does not mean that in those times. Regulated had an alternative meaning and has changed over time, but regulated meant have a series of professionalism and organization to the style, which is more of like a military ordained movement and prescriptive and very, very disciplined. Very different. And when you're talking about a militia, that was one of the biggest problems with the militias back in the American Revolution, is that they weren't disciplined. They wouldn't do the London Line March, and they would revolt at the first volley of fire, and they would run and flee because their discipline was lacking. Second Amendment has nothing to do with regulations. It has to do with the way that one carries themselves. So words change over time, but you're not going to sit here and tell me that that any of those that I mentioned have changed to the point where they no longer mean, because their alternative meaning makes no sense in the context. So would love to talk to a pastor. And they can say, well, we can imply what God was. How do you understand what God says?
One of our listeners got us in touch with her pastor.
I know. I'm working. I haven't had a chance to do that. We're trying to get your good friend on. I'm waiting for his answer.
I messaged him today, Saturday sometime. I'm just asking him to figure out what Saturday is, which Saturday he wants to do it.
Yes.
And then, yeah.
Okay.
So I'll let you know.
Taking the Lord's name in vain. I already addressed that. But how is saying the F word taking the Lord's name in vain? Thomas, I think you'll be hard pressed to even mention a time that I've used the Lord's name in vain. From saying GD or JC or anything else, or even saying God. I don't even think I do that. Oh, God. I don't do that. And when I do it, I catch myself immediately. It's a lack of respect. Now that's disrespectful. That is, in my eyes, horribly disrespectful to people of faith. And I don't do that because it's against God's law. Now, when you say don't use his name in vain, I think the intention of that is in vanity is when we look at the derivative of the word of vain, it doesn't mean use it without consequence. That's not what vain means. I mean, we can look at vain, using God's name to be boastful, using God's name to pretend that you somehow speak with his voice, being vain in the sense of calling upon him in a fleeting effort of self-importance.
I don't think he's addressing you.
He may not be. Having or showing an excessively high opinion of one's appearance, abilities, or producing null result useless is a vain attempt to tidy up the room. So using God's name in vain when it's not needed, but also for your own pretense and moving yourself and pushing yourself up to a stasis that is disingenuous is vanity. And so it's not just saying GD or it's not just saying JC. It's invoking the Lord's name with no cause. So to me, that's a sin. So therefore, I agree with you, but that's not cussing. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So that's my interpretation. I could be wrong, but you have to prove that I am. So I was just saying it was the only time in the Bible that it speaks on swearing. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you. To me, to use the name in vain would be I am addressing it to him, not just the words. Right. Like there's a time where I'll say Jesus Christ or the Lord or God, and I'm using it in a sentence to convey my thoughts. That's not using the Lord's name in vain. Using the Lord's name is when I got a little bit too much to drink when I was 21 years old and went out and looked at the sky and was drinking and I told God to F off. That is not a good thing. And I was asking for a smiting. And luckily, the man was not in the smiting mood at the time. So, or using it when I'm cursing at somebody. Or I say it in exasperation when the Phillips head screws off or flies off and digs into my leg. Those are the times. Okay? All right, we all good? Good, because it seems like religion isn't a topic that people want to dive into tonight for the first time ever. Let's move on. Amy, I'm sorry you were unhappy with what was being talked about. She left.
She had to work anyway.
I know, but still, I don't like her unhappy. I want to show you this video. And this is Ron DeSantis. And I just want to be really clear to everybody. Is that if 2024 comes around and you find that Donald Trump does not win the election, worst case scenario, I just want you to know something. You had probably one of the most conservative based Republicans ever to run for office with a track record in history of being ultra conservative to being open to different things in Ron DeSantis. You had the perfect Republican candidate. And they marred him. They said he was the World Economic Forum. They said he was Davos and he was bought by Soros. Remember all these lies? None of it was true. And I told you that you all were making a horrible mistake on Ron DeSantis. And that you were throwing the baby out with the bathwater, cutting your nose off to spite your face. And it's not everybody on this show, but there are a lot of people who are anti-DeSantis. And the reason why they were anti-DeSantis is because they were told to. And you made a mistake. You're making it with Nikki Haley while we're at it. You're making a mistake with Nikki Haley too. And you flocked to Vivek Ramaswamy because he was the only one Donald Trump didn't attack. And then once he did, you turned on him in the New York Minute. But you're making a mistake with Haley. You're making a mistake with Ron DeSantis. And dare I say, even though I don't like Chris Christie, I don't like him at all. And even though I believe he's a shill, I believe the reason why you didn't like him wasn't the reason why you shouldn't like him. Because he's truly a moderate who leans liberal. That's why I don't like, and that's the only thing I rate a politician on. A lot of people are pretending that they like DeSantis or didn't speak ill of him. I remember the chats, and I remember every single person who talked shit about him. I remember all of you. So that's not going to hold much water with me. I would sit up here and I'd talk, and people would just flame me because you're a rhino. You hate Trump. Are you kidding me? Because this is Ron DeSantis today, and I'll tell you, we had a really good thing going with him, and it doesn't matter whether he was going to win or not going to win, or you perceive it to be disloyal. I understand all that. And should he have ran? Should he have kept his word? That's not the point. Because I want you to listen to this.
Biden is going after Texas, saying that they must remove fortifications from their border. They put wire, they put things to keep people out. Biden's saying you got to take that down to let people come in illegally, which is just crazy. And I remarked that if the Constitution was originally understood to mean that a state could not protect itself against an invasion, that the federal government could force a state to allow an invasion, the Constitution would have never been ratified.
John, you may be an atheist and you may not give a damn and whatever. And honestly, that's fine. You don't have to. But you will be respectful in my chat or you will go away. And there really is no ifs, ands, or buts about that. I wouldn't allow you to say anti-Semitic things in my chat. I would not allow you to go ahead and disparage the elderly, and I would not allow anyone to disparage you unless you bestowed it upon yourself with your words and your actions, like the night that I came after you. And I usually allow people to draw first blood. And then I go ahead and pick up the bat they swung at me with and beat them over the head with it. But if you're simply going to be here just to troll and to antagonize my listeners, I will tell you that is a one-way punch ticket to be banned from the show. And obviously you probably don't give a goddamn, to quote your words. But I can tell you with no equivocation, I don't give a flying fuck about you. So keep pushing and you'll just go away. And you may not care, but either do I. Now shut up and listen to Ron DeSantis. I'm sorry, that was rude. Pretty fucking please.
Place. Texas would have never joined the Union when it did. And if you look at Federalist 46, which Daniel Horowitz pointed out, James Madison talks about situations where federal encroachment can be mitigated by state action. So you have Texas here that's holding its ground. They have every right to fortify the border vis-a-vis an invasion, and that's Article 1, Section 10 of the Constitution. So they're in the right. You also have a situation where liberal jurisdictions over many, many years have been sanctuary jurisdictions against enforcing federal immigration law. So you'll have somebody who's a criminal alien, they will not be given over to ICE, and they will deliberately act to frustrate the laws on the books, and somehow that's viewed as okay. You have Texas, who's acting to enforce the laws on the books, to ensure that they have a secure state and that we have a secure country. So all of this is just nonsense what Biden's doing. Texas has every right to stand its ground. In Florida, we've been sending people to help for many years now, because we understand it's not just a Texas issue, it's ultimately an American issue. And if we don't have sovereignty in this country, then we're not going to be a country anymore. So they have every right to hold their ground, to stay the course, and Florida will continue to be there helping out every step of the way.
Yeah, that guy's not presidential at all. He certainly wasn't worth it, was he? Ron DeSantis better get 2028, and every single Trump supporter better take the pacifier out of their mouth and vote for him, because this guy did what was asked of him. He came in when the RNC went to him and said, we need you as backup. And instead of Donald Trump embracing that and allowing the process to happen, he felt threatened and, of course, attacked him. And it's what Donald Trump does to anyone who doesn't support him. How much of a difficult situation do you think that was for Ron DeSantis? Having a wife who has breast cancer, seeing that experience, pushing Florida into the red, 27 out of 29 counties going red, turning Florida red for the first time ever in U.S. history. Going after Disney, going after California, New York, taking illegal immigrants, shipping them out, all the things that he did, he deserved to run. And honestly, he didn't deserve to win, but he deserved to run. Now, Donald Trump is releasing on Truth Social that supposedly the RNC approached him and said that they were going to go ahead and hand him the nomination and just stop everybody else from running. And Donald Trump said, no, we should allow the process of the election to take place, and I'll do it the right way. I'll win through the system. And that's very magnanimous of him. But that should have been that way the whole time. Instead of using shills like Vivek Ramaswamy to go ahead and call for everyone to drop out and pretending that he was running and was even serious. I don't appreciate. He's not going to be VP. Ron DeSantis won't even be in the same room with Donald Trump right now. And how could he? Ted Cruz, if he had any balls, would be the same way. If Lindsey Graham had any balls, he'd be the same way. After what he said about his wife, after what he said about him and platform heels, I would tell Donald Trump to go piss up a rope if he talked to me that way. If my wife had breast cancer and he even alluded that it was fake, oh man, no. Secret Service would be all over me. Because if I was ever in the same room with that man, I don't care if he's the president or not. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm built from a different cloth. I like Donald Trump. I don't like who he is sometimes. And I thought Ron DeSantis got a horrible, horrible shake. A horrible shake. He has every right to run against Donald Trump. Everyone has a right. Nikki Haley has a right. And they should see it through. And if he wants to win, then win. You don't get just handed to you. You're not an incumbent. You should debate. You should get out there. You should invest your money. You should run because you're not an incumbent. I'm sorry. I happen to like our election process, and I want to see someone earn it. Just because you won it in 2016, whew, man, we are removed from 2016. It ain't even close to the same country. We are 8 years removed from 2016, and we are not the same country. So I want to hear him. And I loved what he said last night about breaking down the intelligence agency. Yeah, more of that. Let me hear more. Give me more. Do it on the debate stage. Do it everywhere. Do it in every country, every city. Go to the black neighborhoods. Go do it, man. Go stump those speeches. Show me you can get down and muck and grind it out. Show me you can go into the inner cities and pull the black vote and the Latino vote and the women vote and all vote. Show me you can bring the moderates back to the promised land. Do it. But you know what? Don't sit here and say that you're not loyal to me. You're disloyal. You're not a fucking king. Sorry for the language. You're not a king. Ron DeSantis was treated like crap. Mike Pence was treated like crap. Nikki Haley was treated like crap. And it's not just him. Ted Cruz was treated like crap. Marco Rubio was treated like crap. Ben Carson was treated like crap. Vivek Ramaswamy was treated like crap. Jeb Bush was treated like crap, but deserved it. John McCain was treated like crap, but also deserved it. If you hate everyone, who's going to run? If you hate everyone, who's going to run? That's my question. All right, Liv, I want to show you something real quick, and then we're going to go.
Okay.
So this video, thanks for letting me vent a little bit. This video is about kids versus parents. And I have noticed a change in my daughter. And it's fine. And I credit it to that it's just kids, right? It's just kids growing up. It's the teenage years, but there's something different. Some of the words that she says, some of the attitude she has, some of the ideas that are in her head, I go, these aren't experiential type learnings. These are behaviorally taught. So I would love for you to listen to this.
Okay.
And apply it to what we know of our own children and tell me what you think, okay?
Okay.
All right, here we go.
I am a student at Chapin High School in my senior year, and I have attended schools in the Chapin cluster since kindergarten. This is the first District 5 board meeting I have attended, though I did watch the public participation portion of the meeting that took place on January 8th. I was inspired to come and speak today by my English teachers. In my high school years, I have come to know most of the teachers in the department and found that they are a brilliant and kind group of people who truly do act in the interest of every student. I hold the utmost respect for them, and they have taught me so much in academics, extracurriculars, and lifelong ethics. I am incapable of fully understanding the stress and responsibility felt by teachers, parents, and the members of this board. I have no years of experience being an educator. I have no college degree. I am not a parent. I am barely even an adult. I am just a high school student. I am here to make a point about the dangerous consequences of book banning in public education, but I first want to share some of my background so that you may get an idea of why this is so important to me. I'm fortunate to have both my parents present and involved in my everyday life. They support me, care for me, and I live a comfortable life. I love both of my parents dearly, but tonight I would like to focus on my father and the concomitantly detrimental effect he has had on my life. He is a conservative, a Republican, and a Christian. For as long as I can remember, he has instilled his political and religious values.
Cheryl, thank you for purchasing one of the Red Friday shirts. Thank you.
As a child who unquestioningly admired her father, I took him at his word, and his one-sided bigoted beliefs became ingrained in my identity. When the topic of the 2016 presidential election arose at the fourth grade lunch table, I would recite the arguments my father made in favor of Trump. I ignorantly endorsed a man who would have me suffer and even die in the name of political agendas. At 10 years old, I had no one exposing me to diverse political perspectives. One might argue that a fourth grade classroom is not the place for political discussions, and if one is to arise, the teacher should extricate themselves from the situation and dismiss the topic entirely. If the classroom is not the place for such discussions, then where? The home? My parents failed me in that area of education, and I can assure you that mine were not the only ones. If fourth grade students are old enough to hold conversations about politics and current events themselves, then they are old enough to hear debates that represent both sides and incorporate a variety of viewpoints. I have since needed to reconsider where I stand. When the Democrats who had previously been demonized, held in unjustifiable condemnation, and immediately dismissed actually aligned with my own morals and reasoning more than Republicans, I found myself at a crossroads. I could either continue in my father's doctrine that required me to follow blindly and ignore irrefutable truths and the principles of democracy, or to pursue my own knowledge and form my own opinions. This I could not do without the support of my teachers. They have encouraged me to conduct my own research about the politicians from both parties who have the power to dictate my life. They did this without interjecting their own opinions or political affiliations. They have emboldened me to form my own opinions and supported me unconditionally. The English department has changed my life for the better. They are, in my humble opinion, the most qualified people in this room to determine which books are useful and appropriate for classrooms. They are experts in how to best use these books, these tools, to provide students with a diverse education with which to become well-informed, free-thinking citizens. Thank you.
So, now that you've had a chance to see that, this is what she looks like. And I will say she is extremely articulate.
She didn't sound like a high school student.
No. Extremely articulate. Is able to put a sentence or two together. But I wanted to get Hayden's reaction. Because does this not sound familiar?
The fact that
go
this
ahead.
young lady is willing to dismiss, I'm sorry, she's a senior, so she's had 4 years of high school. She's halfway through her senior year. In my high school career, I had 4 different English teachers, 1 per year, which means if that's the case there, which it usually is, she's had 4 different English teachers, which means 1 year, 9 months of learning from, Kitty here, of said specific teacher. She's willing to take almost 18 years of love and care and nurturing and teaching and showing you what life is of her parents and throw it out the window over 1 year of teaching from a teacher.
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
Yeah.
And the fact that she was willing to stand in a public place and condemn her father for his one-way bigoted thinking. I'd have a few choice words to say to my daughter if she did that.
She already did it.
And
she already did it. And is a totally different child. But you and I both know that that's what happened. Is they turned her
against her parents.
Against her parents. And not just the schools, but her aunt. And I don't even think it was uncle. I don't think he had anything to do with it. I think he just survived through it and would get the reports from aunt and believe it because, well, who knows and who cares why? But the words, I mean, you heard the way we were described. I don't think anyone ever could look at me after watching my videos on transgender people and say that I am transphobic. I have advocated for the transgender community as one that is desperately in need of intervention and interjection and reform on how this group and demographic of people are treated in society. The suicide rate, the drug addiction, the sexual predation, the abuse, the workplace discrimination. It is all so... You could take Jews, Muslims, blacks, and Christians and add up all of the hate crimes against them, and it still doesn't increase and even get close to the transgender community. And my point was, and my only point that I've ever made, is not questioning the mental acuity of these people, or not questioning their motives or their intention or their sexual deprivation or whatever. I don't do any of that. The only thing I say is, why would you bring kids into one of the most dangerous demographics mentally, physically, length of life, hate crimes, violent children into that decision. And I don't understand it. And we should be careful with encouraging children to be a part of that. That's not transphobic. That is like saying, don't go join the Crips. Don't go deal crack. Don't go skydiving without a parachute.
That's just steering your children in a direction that is for their well-being.
Right.
I mean, our job as parents is to protect our children at all costs. I'm going to protect my children at all costs.
Yeah. And so to me, this is the problem, is that children get exposed, and peer pressure used to be smoking pot or having sex.
Mm-hmm. That's
or
what it was in my day.
Or trying drugs or ding dong ditching or lighting dog poo on somebody's front yard, or spray painting a wall. Now it's changing your entire ideology and reversing your angst and your trepidation and your uncomfortability that happens in all schools and project it onto your parents to blame. When it's truly the society inside the school and the cliques and the behavior of the haves and have-nots and the constant monarchical rating of this is a king and queen and this is a nerd. And you see this in classification in societies later in life, but it's the beginning of it. It's segregation based upon who you are. You're fat, tall, slim, blonde hair, not blonde hair, tan, a whore, a prude, a druggie, a smart person, a jock. And you are classified into these pockets of a group of people who you will only be a part of for that 4 years. And you must align with them in a protective state in order to survive. And then when you're in that vulnerable state in school, and from the cheerleader to the prom prince, they all feel the same trepidation and fear and angst and uncomfortability about themselves. And they now, instead of seeking drugs or teenage pregnancy or a bottle, they turn it around and project it onto their parents and blame them for not preparing for the unpreparable. And it's terrifying. Why do you think I ask Caden all the time? I'm like, you're a pretty staunch conservative Republican. Do you understand that they're going to challenge you in college on this thinking and blame me? And she goes, I don't care. They're idiots. And I know they're idiots. And I'm like, okay, cool. Because do you think I push the children to believe one thing versus the other?
We have always raised them to have their own opinion and to think for themselves. And if you have questions on things and aren't sure, then go get a second opinion, not just from us. Do your research. One example would be we have not raised our children in a religion. Mm-hmm. I was raised in a very strict household, religious strict household.
Like, give us an example of what a strict household is.
It's not as strict as some, but I mean, as a kid growing up, I couldn't watch anything over PG. There were certain shows that I couldn't watch that I was like, why? It's like I couldn't watch the movie A League of Their Own because Madonna was in it, and Madonna was evil. So, I mean, I grew up like that. It was, you will do as I say. And if there was any questions and pushback on that, it was because I said so and because I'm telling you to. There was never any less look into your questions, and this is the reason why we believe this way. It was, you believe this because I believe this. We've always raised our children to have their own opinions. And I bring up the religion thing because we've never pushed a religious agenda on the kids. I've told them how I was raised. I told them the beliefs I was raised with, but we have said, if you want to believe in a specific religion, then do some research and find a church. And I have no problem taking to that church every Sunday.
Your mom wound up being right about Madonna, though.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, but some of the other things like Murder, She Wrote, or
oh no, my mom watched that one.
Okay, so maybe you're just making it. You always do this. You always exaggerate with your mom, and when she sits across from me, she's like, "That's not true. I never did that."
Well, I couldn't watch certain shows, but
it was the music you couldn't listen to. I mean, listen, it's Christian conservative. You're from a small town. You're from Montana, and a lot of us. But your mom wasn't abusive. Your mom, your mom created a wonderful home for you, and
I've never
the life
once
between
said that
her.
she was abusive. She was just
I
very.
didn't say you did. I'm trying to paint a picture here that your mom wasn't. She just was. She was strict. I mean, you couldn't wear a certain dress past your knees. Had to be past your knees, and you had to date a certain group of people. There were rules for your sister, and just things that we don't do. But it doesn't mean look how you turned out. You're an amazing human being. Your mom did a great job, and I think you know that. But there were limitations that when you met me, I was like, holy God, let's get you out. Let's go get you shit faced with tequila. Let's have you go dance on the top of a limousine, half naked, and let's get you some experience here. I mean, there was a time when I was 21 and I don't know, no, it was 22.
You were 24 when we met. If they're talking about us being together.
It doesn't matter. But there was a time when I told you, and it was like after you turned 21, and I said, we might need to like take a break and you need to go out and experience some things. Like I think it's when you wanted to start going out with everybody and hanging out with the girls, and we had already been committed in our relationship. And I'm kind of like, hey man, we might need to take a break, and you go out and go date and go. You haven't done any of these things. You met me and that was it. You had a fling with a guy, and then you had a fiance, and then it was me. And I appreciate that. But I was to the point where I was like, I love you, but this isn't going to last unless you don't regret that you didn't do the things you wanted to go and do. And I think there was like a 10-second delay in your head of actually trying to do that. And then, there was a commitment to each other, and there were tough times and everything else, but we were all raised a certain way. But when I met you, I was like, oh my God, it's amazing how much you don't know. Like, I'm just
it was very, and it wasn't always based on religion. I was very sheltered. Like my mom didn't want me to fill out my own college applications and scholarship applications because she was afraid I was going to make a mistake. And it's just stuff like that. I didn't know how to do pretty much everything when I moved out of the house because I was very sheltered. We grew up in the house that we had. Our main source of heat was a wood stove.
Right.
I was never taught how to start a fire.
No, not like even that, but even like voting or even like balancing a checkbook. I had to show you how to. Mm-hmm. I mean, all these things, and like you couldn't name two presidents before.
Well, that's because I didn't pay attention in school.
But it doesn't matter. There's a basic understanding. I mean, of certain things. Sports teams, for instance. I mean, you lived close to the Canadian border, and hockey was completely foreign to you. You were born in a very simple town and a very simple life, and like I look at you now, and I'm just baffled at how intelligent and well put together you are, and how much you've learned over the last 25 years. And that video you did with Joy Reid, I mean, that's one of the biggest videos we've ever done. I don't know if you've seen it, something like 75,000 views now. It's going all over the net, and it's because people appreciate your candor and your kindness, and that you are a person of few words. And how can you not be when I'm always talking? But when you do say
and
something,
Hayden.
Shut up, I'm not done. Shut up, I'm not done.
I can never get anything in the room with you two.
I'm not done.
Would you rather your child had feminism or cancer?
But I'm giving you a compliment. You've learned a whole bunch, and that's the one thing I'm proud of. When your mom and I were talking one time and sitting at the table, I just looked at her and I said, the funny thing is I've spent more time with your daughter than you have. Mm-hmm. And she was like, yeah, it's crazy, right? It's like, I have been more of an influence on your life than your own mother. And that's what always bothered me, that you guys weren't so close, and there was division between you two because of me, that I was like, you need your mother. Like, I need my mother desperately, and she's nowhere in my life. I needed my father, nowhere in my life. I need my sister or my brother, they're nowhere in my life. And that's a hard thing. So it always bothered me that I always felt responsible for that. So it was like, okay, so how do I give you the things that she would give you? I mean, there were things about I'm not trying to get too personal, but just your own personal girl life that I had to help fill the gaps for that you didn't know. And, and luckily I spent most of my time with girls growing up versus guys. And I knew a lot of those things, but it was crazy how much, like, you didn't even know your limits with drinking. You hadn't even experimented with it. And like, all of a sudden you're like 11 shots of tequila. And I'm like, Olivia, you're going to die. And had to pull you back and hold your hair over the toilet for 27 times. I remember that.
She would, I mean, she was a good mom, but
Very,
if there was
very
ever,
good mom. I'm not disrespecting her at all.
We're very close. And there's a lot of things I look back on. And now that I've got kids, I'm like, yep, I understand why my mom did that.
Yeah.
But there are some things I look back on and go, nope, I'm not doing that with my kids.
Yeah. She's an amazing, I love your mom.
But we are much more open with our children than my mom was with me.
Oh, totally.
Very,
very.
I couldn't, the only reason I was able to take sex ed in school was because it was a required credit to graduate in my school. Otherwise, I wouldn't have taken it. Any topic that was uncomfortable to my mom was off limits because it made her uncomfortable. In 8th grade, one of the boys, and I mean, I grew up in a school, there was like 85 people in my 8th grade class. And 2 of the boys found one of the dad's gun and one of the boys died. It was my first experience with death that I remember, even though, my grandma died when I was 5, but I don't remember that. So I was destroyed because we all knew each other and we were all pretty close. But my mom didn't know how to handle my grief. So she just told me to stop crying. She just didn't know. She goes, you didn't know him that well. Don't stop crying. And I couldn't go to her and share in my grief. And she didn't understand. And his funeral was at our church and the entire school went. And so for a while there, every single time I went to my church, all I saw was his casket at the beginning. And I would get very upset. My mom didn't understand, why are you getting so upset at church? And it was stuff like that. She got married at the age of 17. She was very young. She was the oldest of 5 kids. And when she was 12, she had twin brother and sisters who were 2 and a little brother who was a newborn. So it was like my grandma was so incredibly busy with 3 kids under the age of 2 that it was like, just go out and kind of do your own thing. And she kind of just ran around the neighborhood and did her own thing. And I think it was my mom had no rules and was able to pretty much do anything she wanted, and got married at the age of 17 and did all this and had so much freedom that she felt that the way she was raised was not the way she would have wanted to be raised. She felt that she needed some more structure and some more discipline in her life and someone to actually tell her no. So she raised us a complete opposite of the way
which most
my
parents
grandparents
do.
did, and held us in too close.
Yeah.
So
and that's the way it is, right? I mean, we're probably looser than our parents, and they will be, surprisingly enough, our children might be a little bit more strict and not share things, not show them Kill Bill when they're 8 years old.
But we've always raised them to be very open-minded, like even from a very, very young age. When Hayden was able to get an idea of being able to pick something, I always gave her an opinion. So I would hold up 2 outfits when she was young enough or old enough and be like, okay, which outfit do you want to wear? So that way she felt she had control of her life. It wasn't just, you're wearing this. I let her choose, do you want this or this for lunch? And it started out with small things like that. And we've always let them have their opinion. So I think we're pretty open with our kids, and we've been very open, and we've always been okay with the way the world is, with school shootings and everything the way it is. We've always
not okay,
but
not hide it from them.
No, I'm completely okay with sacrificing just a teeny bit of their innocence to make sure that they are prepared if that situation were to ever arise. Because back in Texas, Hayden's school, Ethan was not there, so Hayden must have been second grade. They actually did a school shooter drill where they got the police and the fire department, local fire department, in on it, and their vice principal dressed in black with a water gun. And they made it very, very real. And the school sent out emails, and they had, meetings about this to tell us exactly what was going to happen. And to, any parent that wanted to could opt their child out of it. They urged us to talk to our kids about what was going to happen so they'd understand. And we were 100% open with Hayden. This is what happens. This is what can happen. And at second grade, she got to experience what a possible school shooter could be like.
Yeah.
And I'm sure at second grade, that was a little scary. And she goes, even though I knew it was our vice principal and I knew it was him, it was still scary.
Sure.
But she is now going to be somewhat prepared because I know she'll never forget that.
Yeah.
And I'm 100% okay with preparing them for the world the way it is. And they're learning more at their ages of 10 and 13 that they're learning stuff that I didn't learn until I was an adult. And I'm okay with that. So,
well, I think it's a good close to the conversation tonight. And I thank everyone for being on. The show, I hope sometimes the more personal about us, whether it be our inequities or the things we're struggling with or reflection upon who we are as people, it's always a learning process. And thank you guys for sharing it with us. If you would not mind, please share, like, follow, subscribe. If you haven't been over to YouTube, do it. We're really close. Liv, where are we at? 65 away? 75?
63, although I keep getting messages that I sent my friend over to subscribe. My friend told me they were going to subscribe, blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to see.
So, yeah, we'll find out where we're at. If you've not had a chance, stop by thedumshow.com. Some new stuff.
Same.
New stuff over there. Right here, we've got the Come and Take It shirt. We just made this today. It's selling like hotcakes. Hats also are going out the door. Pretty exciting.
The camo one's really nice. I like that.
Yeah, so get yourself the Come and Take It. The hat is actually, I think, better than the shirt because it's just the way it's separated. The barbed wire looks really cool. So that hat is available for you. Go ahead and take a look. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Appreciate you. We're going to see you on Monday, unless anything happens over the weekend. That's huge. We'll be here with you on Monday for a new recorded show. There might be some news over in the Spreely News channel, so go check out there. And thanks for watching. God bless, and we will see you on Monday. Good night, everybody.
Night, y'all.
See ya.
Go to YouTube, subscribe.
Go to YouTube and subscribe. Yes.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts,
and screw the Kings.
Leroy, Amy, Olivia, and Mike. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on the Spreely.tv network and all major social media channels at The DUM Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.